So, welcome to Inane Blather.
Thank you.
This is my show only podcast. Who are you? Thanks for totally tripping at my intro.
Yep.
I had a funny thought earlier.
All right, let's start it over.
The only podcast on the internet that where everything is made up and the points do matter.
Oh.
And then it's like, ugh, groan. You know, there's just this collective groan among our millions of listeners that slowly shifts tectonic plates. And in a way, you know, by eliminating some of the volcanoes, puts out less CO2 in the atmosphere. And that one stupid intro joke reverses climate change.
Yeah, it
that
somehow
was my...
that was your intro, but I messed it up. So now climate change is irreversible.
Yeah, that was my idea, but, you know, I mean, yeah, might as well just be nihilistic about it, I guess.
Yeah, and now, like, not enough people groaned where it just, like, made fracking, like, 1,000 times worse, and now there's, like, 800 times the amount of earthquakes because of the slight tectonic shift instead of the entire tectonic shift. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? At least we're done with it. At least now we know for sure there is no going back. We could just say, like, burn car tires, just whatever. Like, it doesn't even matter anymore. So it's kind of freeing.
I would say at the very least, you know, at least you can go to your early grave and your pointless, meaningless existence on a speck of dust in the middle of nowhere, saying that you did something.
Yeah,
whether bad or good.
Yeah,
you had an effect on this horrible, hellish facade we call life on Earth.
Hey, life is
anyway,
suffering.
So how's the weather?
The weather is hellishly hot, to stay on subject. There's no air conditioning here.
Yeah?
It was like 95 today. I have COVID, so I don't know if you can... Yeah, I've got my mask on. My girlfriend, roommate, live-in partner, she does not have it as yet. She hasn't had any symptoms, so we're really trying to be good about isolating from each other. So I haven't really been outside too much except to smoke weed, and it's hot. It's hot out, and it's sunny, so it'd be nice if I wasn't sick because I'd be down at the river or out doing yard work or whatever, and not in this. We do have a movable air conditioning unit because, you know, as you know, most places over here don't have air conditioning. In Seattle metropolitan area and surrounding areas. Yes. Yeah, I mean, in Olympia, you probably didn't have air conditioning. Yeah, because it's usually pretty temperate.
When I moved to Olympia, that day that I moved in was a record-breaking high. It was like 105 degrees, and there was no AC. And it was absolutely brutal. Swamp, living right next to a rainforest.
Humid.
But I mean, it was hot here for sure. But I have air conditioning. And not because of sound fidelity, but out of solidarity, I turned off the air conditioning in here.
Solidarity, not sound fidelity.
Yeah, and I also got COVID just to do it for you, too.
Wow,
so,
what a guy. You know, You're doing your part.
Yeah. I'm due to see my doctor in about 2 hours. I was like, they're like, actually, you didn't turn the AC off. You have a fever of 105 degrees. It's like, oh,
wearing a sweatshirt.
It's so hot and cold in here. Yeah. So, what were we
that
talking
actually
about?
brings me to my next point, what I was going to start with
COVID.
after we talked about the weather.
No. You have to have a first point before you go on to your next point. Oh!
That was my first point about the weather was going to... What you were saying... Whoa. We're like our sound mixing, it's like...
Oh, no, not again.
No.
Everyone who listens, the multitude of listeners, let's put out a Venmo account so they can buy you a new computer.
I was going to say it was a perfect segue into my first point I was going to make today. Something that I've been thinking about how you were saying you had joking about having a horrible fever, like, which gives you brain damage. And I was thinking that why would we ever be insecure about putting our podcast out there? Because I just watched that one Hassan with Andrew Tate and like all these guys. They were all talking together and they were so fucking stupid. They were like saying like the dumbest things and like not ashamed of it at all. And I was like, I can't aspire to that level of ignorance. Oh fuck. Should I stop recording?
No, I'm at 5:44. It only missed a little bit. Anyway, sound effect. Okay.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. So, so you were listening. You've been recording, so we can just cut this out.
Well,
okay. So you listened to Hassan and what Andrew Tate. And
it was like a group of them. I watched on YouTube. It was probably like a Hassan Abi moments or whatever just people that clipped together his stuff. And it was him with Andrew Tate and like a few other guys. Another streamer that I'm not really familiar with. He seems like
they're Fortnite
he talks really, really fast. Yeah. And but one of the other guys, it was like, dude, why the fuck are you in this conversation? You're saying the stupidest fucking shit. Hassan looked so much smarter than these people. Like, it was amazing how much more articulate rather, and just
articulate. I mean, I believe it's pronounced.
That's what it is. Yeah. And like they're like, what are you like obsessed with him? It's like because he did some research. They're like pretty much being like nerd. Like they're just, and these are guys with like platforms. So why would we ever be embarrassed to put our stuff out there? Dumb motherfuckers are like so comfortable just taking the lead on all these conversations, having. Oh my God, Andrew Tate, especially. Well, my whole point was that we're smart and we care about people, and we're not just doing this because, well, maybe you are, because we're like entitled white guys that think that our opinion matters. No, I'm just kidding. I don't feel that way about you at all.
You're beyond. You're one of those. You're an enlightened white man. Guy. Yeah.
I mean, I think that you're an enlightened man. Oh, yay. Okay, thanks, Hassan.
I'll just put it into the,
He's got my back on this.
Microphone. Yeah.
Yeah. I
love it. Okay. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's, I was just watching Vosh today when he was covering that and stuff, and yeah, it's not that I'm not embarrassed about that's what's funny. I'm not embarrassed about my takes, really. I mean, because not because I'm so confident in my intellectual capacities or in my ideological stances or anything like that. It's more that I'm confident in the fact that if I say something stupid and I get called out on it and someone tells me otherwise, I'm totally fine with saying, oh yeah, duh, I was wrong. That's fine with me. I mean, and there are things that, I mean, maybe someone can disagree and I won't think I was wrong, but the confidence in that doesn't make me like embarrassed for the content wise. The only thing I get really self-conscious about is it's like, you know, when I just burp into the microphone and stuff. No, I'm not embarrassed about that either, but is just like there's just so much being produced. You know what? There's just so much being produced, and it's just like, why do you put your stuff out there? Who cares?
Everyone's got to scream into the void somehow. you know, we all have the, the need.
Why is that an accepted fact?
Because that's the human condition, motherfucker. Like, we all have to deal with... Yeah. Is that a good enough answer for you?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just, I guess I'll just do what you say. As
cool,
Andrew
that
Tate,
works for me.
We... a couple tangents later in my mind just now, everyone who listens, because our audience did grow exponentially from...
What kind of exponential?
Well, I mean, from the two of us to like people.
Yeah, doubling is exponential. Yeah.
Yeah, to 4 or something like that. I mean, and I'm counting in millions, of course, but
well, that goes without saying.
We have to remember that we have a Twitter, and links are on our Twitter. I just thought of that because I forgot I was using the Inane Blather Twitter account, and I was said some response to the
sexy pics.
No, no, that's for my personal account. That's very easy to do. But no, in the Andrew Tate thing, I had just responded to someone with it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the Inane Blather Twitter." But that whole thing,
good, be ruthless with that Twitter.
Vosh was talking about that, where it's just like he was saying he's like a lot of this is solipsism, where it's like there's no I love that word, arguing with that. There's no coming back, because he's just like the whole idea of no, well, I think this, and no matter what, you're wrong, you lost. Like when he told Hassan, he's like, "You lost. Let's move on." And he's like, "What?" Like, yeah, you're just being absolutely schooled. Everyone's complaining that you're going over the same points over and over again because you won't accept the simple fact that the reality is reality. Empirical evidence is empirical evidence. Yada yada yada. Whoever listens, I don't know if they've been into this or not, but. But yeah, just the what's the point for some of it when you're that far apart, when the gulf between not two opinions, but just absolutely like a view of reality and empiricism in itself, when that is so far apart, what's the purpose of it? Like, I mean, you can justify bringing ideas in front of audiences that might need it and stuff, but if the audience is the audience of a flat earther or something, like, what's the point of the NASA scientist or the fucking astronaut even having a debate with a flat earther? Like, what's the purpose of this? Like,
I don't know. I think some of it's
learning anything.
Some of it's just to be like, you got to do something. Like, straight up, the way that he's talking about women, it's really interesting how incredibly comfortable he feels being so fucking sexist, because people would obviously,
and for anyone who's listening, that you should, I mean, we could give some background, just Google Andrew Tate. He's a former MMA kickboxer fighter, and who's become champion. Just a scammy, a rich guy who's been involved in alleged sex trafficking, now lives in Romania. Really popular. And it's just a huge,
has a big platform,
big manosphere, misogynist guy, and of course he's a big Trump tard kind of dude. But he's just been kicked in the head too many times. But and just people, the confidence in being sexist, you're saying, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like seriously, and like he has this co-host is so like Fresh and Fit and all these guys that travel in this manosphere. There's also not just white men, there's black men in the manosphere, and it's like, I hope you guys know that the way they're talking about women as a monolith and stereotyping and biases that they hold against us, this is the exact way that people use racism also. Like, but they're so just comfortable with saying women are bad drivers, women are this, women are that. It's really, really interesting to me, like how overt it is without, and them just being like, it is like fact. It's straight up like people, I mean, like really racist people saying really racist things about black people. It's like the
reactionary guys are the ones that become postmodernist. Once you're really breaking it down to the bare facts, it's like, so your truth is your truth, and that's reality, I guess? There's no such thing as empiricism, like, and we're the postmodernists, I guess? What are you talking about? That
all these trees that are falling in the forest, they don't make a sound to these people because they didn't hear them. Like, nothing exists except for their reality, I guess, so that every woman represents every woman, I guess, in the world, because that is every woman argument. In every...
Yeah, I had a fun little argument in the YouTube comment section, which is, should be an Olympic sport, is YouTube flame wars. I mean, it will be soon, but yeah, with someone who where it's just like, well, how do you, this guy supporting Andrew Tate's views, where I'm like, but what about you? Like, do you, just like Hassan said, do you believe the earth is flat, or do you think it's round? And their response, I don't know, it was more cogent and still worse than Andrew Tate's, where he says, I don't know, and neither do you, because we haven't been out there. I'm like, see, that's the entire point, is that you disregard what science is and what empiricism is, and that's what this is for, is so we can all know facts about things that we haven't personally experienced, and we can believe them to be true, I don't know. It gets into like a weird philosophical argument that's way beyond their comprehension.
Exactly. He's not making a philosophical argument. He's a selfish little bitch who just wants to be right all the time because he has a tiny dick and his dad didn't love him enough. Oh my God, story again and again and again and again. Jesus Christ, just be gay already or something. Ooh, my God.
People should check out the YouTube channel. I sent it to you, but she's great. She was on Jose's video, and on her channel, she was talking about Andrew Tate and discovering his writings, like his like short story writing, that when it tied it all together, and the fact that it was like this metaphor about, or like this analogy to him and his father, and like it was written pretty well and was good and interesting. It's like, dude, like, why? I don't know. Like, part of it is he's been kicked in the head too many times and is just a misogynist piece of crap. And then another part, it's like, masculinity in itself and toxic masculinity does not support a man more easily pursuing interests like that and being able to make money off of that and support himself instead of scamming everyone. He was a chess grandmaster.
Yeah. He was like very intellectual and all this. And you can, and of course I can feel compassion for everyone, and like how the patriarchy makes victims of us all. Like, it's a horrible thing to be stuck in for men, but it's especially bad for women because of the violence against us. And men like Andrew Tate are, man, he looks like an exact, like, whoop, red flag everywhere for the kind of guy that would beat the shit out of his girlfriend, that would be incredibly emotionally abusive. He seems like he's a big red flag that you would never want your friends to ever hang out with. He seems like an awful man that's like beyond...
personally said that stuff.
I mean, like, he's one of those guys, and to, like, normalize his, like, for him to be so popular, and for the way he talks about women and talks to women and stuff, it's really scary as a woman, because men do feel very entitled to you already. Like, that patriarchy, like, men coming up on the streets and wanting to touch you and hold your hand and hug you, that happens all the time. Like, it happens a lot. People seriously walking up to you and asking to touch you and hug you. It's never happened to me,
so I don't believe
so you're a liar.
Happened. There's no empirical
you're a lying
evidence.
Jezebel. How were you dressed?
In mine. Yeah, exactly. Well,
yeah, and so he really supports all that bullshit.
I'm catching up on Succession with our friend Ethan, and watched another episode last night. And there was a part of it, I mean, so much of that show, it's funny, I had said after this really great part in season 3, and this intense long silence between Kendall and Logan Roy, and all of the, I mean, it's just really good. It's like the best show on TV, of course, yada yada yada. But right after that, I turned to Ethan, I was like, that is toxic masculinity. I was like, that is the stuff that we need to get across, like, to men who just hate the term. I mean, it's also understandable too, but it's just like, that's how it affects men's relationships. How they don't want to talk about something. How it comes down to this basis of a constant power struggle between men and masculine figures, instead of cooperation or any sort of like emotional feedback and stuff. And it's so intense on that show because it's father and son, it's family members. Like, how like the patriarchy, all of this, like it's all rooted in power and control, and because that centers around male figures and stuff like that, how it just ruins how men see each other and how they hang out with each other and how they can even love each other.
Anti-homophobia stuff too, has really hindered men on being as I don't know, complex emotionally. Like, men are still humans. Like, I think about little boys, it makes me want to cry, seriously, like little toddlers, and they're just as sweet.
Well, it's because you're a woman. So,
well, sure, obviously, no. But like that
with
they
your
want
small emotional woman brain. That's science. What we're getting to, right? Yeah,
yeah. That all I want to do is cry and let my baby boy cry and turn him into a fucking pussy. No, I mean, just
he'll be castrated. This is all the way out.
Men, look to the lobster. Yeah. Wow, talk about another dumb motherfucker there. Oof, I called it a long time ago, but. Just about men and how they have emotions just like women do, and they have no tools to deal with them. They don't have a group of how girlfriends sit around and just talk about our feelings. We talk on the phone for hours. Like sisters are known to do that. Just men don't have an outlet like that often, and even women help to perpetuate toxic masculinity by expecting men to be, the strong, silent type, and blah, 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 men and crying, and all that's getting better, but there are so many implicit, and undertones of just systemic sexism, systemic racism. I mean, it's everywhere. It's it's in every system, and the way that we think about honoring our husbands and blah blah blah, putting them at the head of the family and all these things, putting this weight on men's shoulders with not a lot of tools to deal with the complex social relationships that we have. It's really sad, and I mean, men are suffering, and men's rights activists, while I obviously am not going to get behind the anti-woman part of it, I understand the need for a more understanding and compassionate view of men, because I feel bad for all these stupid little incels and Nazis and stuff. I feel like these they haven't they're trapped in this horrible system too of oppression. They don't know better,
because
they shouldn't be expected
seeing
to know
it that
better.
way is a feminist point of view. That's the problem. Why these certain things can't be breached. I don't know. It just there needs to be some sort of breakthrough to get across to a lot of people, and maybe we were progressing forward and stuff. We're through the airwaves and social media, we're transifying so much of America that we won't have to worry about it anyway, and all the men will just become women, and we'll all just be wandering around saying, "What is a woman?" and listening to Matt Walsh, as he cries into his pillow at night. My hero Joe Rogan was talking about Matt Walsh and how smart he is, and he has the best deadpan. He just asks questions, and he just gets information from people. He's not setting them up for anything. And then you watch Matt Walsh's thing, and he's just fast forwarding through people's answers, pretty much. It's so fucking stupid, Joe. All these people are stupid. I'm smarter than all these guys. They're just a bunch of dumbos, and we're smart. We do a podcast.
And they also
have
do a
problems
podcast.
recording over Discord. No one knows, but we're both wearing sunglasses indoors right now, and you have a mask
That's
on.
How you know we're cool.
Yeah, we're cool and smart, and everyone deserves to listen to us. That's the show. Bye. No.
Everyone deserves it, because they did some wrong in their previous life. COVID evidently affected my mouth.
Indiana House Bill 1041, a law that bans transgender girls from participating in school sports, was vetoed and overridden in 3 days.
Hell yeah.
And also, little fact from Wikipedia that was just under it, no-wave band Pulse Alama was described as 13 girls fighting over a cowbell. So that's cool. I'm definitely going to check them out after the show. That's exactly how I would
describe that, yeah. And I was like, I just have a fever, and what I need
Oh!
It's 13 girls fighting over a cowbell.
You're like, and what I need is 13 girls fighting over me holding a cowbell.
Over my cowbell, if you know what I mean. Come on, give it a ring,
my
girls.
dead cowbell.
What I was thinking, I don't think we were recording earlier, but I was talking about how I have COVID and like my responsibility and how I feel so fucking guilty about getting it.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
And how you were saying, yeah, I know. I feel really bad. I feel like a hypocrite. I'm vaccinated and everything, but then you said,
so you're not a hypocrite.
You didn't do anything wrong. Go cough in everyone's face, lick doorknobs, just do whatever.
No, don't put words in my mouth. I just said take a shit on through people's sunroofs.
Faces.
It'll probably, a little Chicago sunroof.
But that.
No, I was just saying it's like, what do we want to do? Like, I don't want to be some,
basement boy.
Yeah, I'm not a Stevie Crowder basement boy or Joe Rogan retard, but it's just like, I mean, you did what you have to do. Everyone has had the chance. You get vaccinated so that if you do get COVID, which is a legitimate thing, and it was such a crisis, and it still is because it can get you really sick, obviously. Like, you're sick right now, and you're much healthier than I. But it's like, I mean, you get vaccinated. If you find out you have it, you don't spread it. And then you go back to your life, just like everyone else, because we're not... I mean, you can wear a mask in public if you want, but that's... I mean, we should have learned from the beginning. It's only going to help you so much, and it's more to help other people. If you can just stay home if you are sick, then you stay home if you are sick. Everyone who might be hurt more by it should be vaccinated by now. You should be getting them to get vaccinated. And it's unfortunate if they've been brainwashed into not getting vaccinated and they're the ones who catch COVID. I mean, sucks to suck for so many people, but it's like, I mean, and you can blame vaccine misinformation and all that stuff. I mean, they can be blamed for it. Morons like Brett Weinstein and Joe Rogan and whoever. I mean, Ron DeSantis and stuff like that. But it's like, when it comes down to it, I mean, it takes two to tango with propaganda. We're all just too dumb. Like, I fall for stuff all the time, and I'm not a complete moron, and I still fall for propaganda. And when there's such a widespread machine spreading disinformation about a health crisis, then you know what? Some people are going to not get vaccinated, and they're going to get COVID, and it's their fault too. So that's where I'm at with that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and it fucking sucks. Like, it's a sucky disease to have. You feel really sick. I feel sick, and I lost my sense of smell again.
Just from getting the booster, how crappy I felt. I was like, ugh, if I got COVID, it would suck so bad. Like, God damn.
Like, having a fever, being so unbelievably tired, like, coughing, and then, I swear, like, my lungs have been affected by it, and it's scary to think about, like, what could be
says the person who only goes outside to smoke marijuana.
To smoke weed, I know. Yeah. But what am I going to do? Quit smoking weed? Okay, yeah. And then kill myself? No thanks. Okay. So that's called self-medication done right, am I right? Where just one lack of supply and you leads you to suicide. That's healthy. That's healed.
You're just doing it in solidarity with the president, Joe Biden. It's like, well, he's got
around a lot of vaccinated people. That's what I was going to say. If he's got it, why would I feel bad? He's only around vaccinated people, and he's fucking vaccinated, so...
Yeah. And I have nothing to feel bad about. Presidential doctors. No, I'm just joking. It's like... I wasn't. It would be so funny and depressing and the worst thing ever if Trump... fucking moron got through this catching COVID and then Joe Biden dies of COVID in office.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. It would be...
what a nightmare. This is the worst timeline. Humor. Oh my
just
God.
Be like, good Lord. Then we get Kamala Harris as president. We all...
oh God.
And then superhero Trump who beat COVID.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Stop, Doug. Stop.
it's funny that he's going to run. I mean, we all talk about it, but I kind of wondered too. I was like, it's got to just be too much fucking work. Like, didn't he realize how much he hated this job? And now, I mean, I just saw the thing the other day. But look how much attention he got when he's not president. Like,
he's not the main story of every single news thing I would get would be something Trump said. Jesus Christ.
He did that interview a few days ago, and he just said it's just a matter of when he announces, so he is going to run.
Did you see
It'd be really fun to finally see. Oh, yes. Yes. What a ding-dong.
He's so dumb.
I can't believe it. It's just, I want just Trump and Biden just in a room just together, and we just lock them in there together, and they can just talk things out while we all just, like, you know, accomplish things and be not demented as a country.
We still got Mitch McConnell out here. We got Matt Gaetz. Come on, we got Nancy Pelosi.
But they don't literally have dementia.
Dementia.
like the last two presidents. So.
That's our standard right now. Come to America. Both of our most recent presidents have dementia.
Yeah, that's how inclusive we are. Is that it's like, hey, it doesn't matter. The
differently abled can become president.
Yeah, it's like we're look at this guy. Not only is it not cool to call him a retard anymore, but you also, like, will elevate him to the highest office in the land just to show how...
Give him the nuclear football!
Oh, yeah, it's like, yeah, we're not only will we not have this man executed in Texas, we'll give him the nuclear codes. That's how progressive we are.
Yeah, take that, Norway.
Yeah, you guys with your great prison system and stuff. Yeah, well, we put a demented septuagenarian in office with a running mate who's literally a robot. So
yeah, what do you think about that? Yeah. He calls his wife mother. So
just like the last vice president.
Yeah.
It's just a wild time we're having over here.
Oh man.
What are they going to do? What do you think? Let's just talk politics. What the fuck are these people going to do? The Democrats are going to lose so bad. Like,
yeah, it's pretty disheartening.
It's so bad. How are they not going to
French
lose?
Revolution, and I'm like, where is the guillotine? Metaphorically, obviously, because seriously, like,
no metaphors.
What? Oh my god, what the heck with these Democrats? Like, what legitimately are they doing? I begged people to vote for Joe Biden, like, during the last election. Like, begged sometimes. I got a couple first-time voters, and I was like, and they're like, better be better. And I was like, well, for one thing, I can say it is way better than Trump. It's way better than overt fascism and racism. Like, this is definitely better. This is definitely the lesser of two evils.
And here we are. 2 years later, I mean, not 2 years later, but still, and it's just not different in any conceivable way whatsoever. It's actually the country's worse. And
it feels worse, too, because of the lack of...
It's the lack of action. It's not directly caused by the Democrats. It's a complete thumbs up their asses doing nothing. It's like the Republicans control this country, and... So to even say, well, it's the lesser of two evils, like, why? Just because the news stories aren't as bad? He's not embarrassing himself on the world stage, which he does because he falls asleep. And that's just funny.
No, it's because like, he doesn't straight up have, like, white supremacist talking points. Like, legitimately, Stephen Miller is no longer in the White House. Some of these things legitimately make a difference.
All these people
because they would have done it faster.
I guess.
They would have been doing things worse faster, and that's the only good thing that we're like waiting, biding us some time, and you know what? Biden, motherfucker, just, you know what? Fucking just die already. Seriously, like, can something change? Like, can something happen? Like, they're not doing...
We can't put this out on the airwaves now. Like, I mean, now that people are going to know about my terror cell who they've kind of capped out. I only have like 2,200 people in it so far, right? So, but then I was like, they kept kind of usurping my authority and making fun of me, and I went through their phones, because I have it all down. And they kept spanking my bare butt, balls, and back, and I went through their phones with the software that I illegally put on there, and they kept calling me Yubi, I don't allow them to use the word cracker, so I guess it's unleavened bread or something. They call me Yubi. I don't appreciate it. I'm just going to hand the reins. So, unleavened bread? I don't know. It's like a cracker. I'm just trying to make something up here. Yubi. Anyway, that combined with the talk of you wanting Joe Biden to die. Oh. When he dies, immediately after I upload this podcast in,
obviously
I don't know, 6 weeks or whatever. No. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You're not. You're totally
back?
Frozen in your video, but
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You didn't say what?
Prove it that I said that.
It's recorded.
That.
You're like, it's recorded on...
No, it's not.
It's recorded on your end. Oh, no.
A long time ago. Yeah. No, obviously I don't want something bad to happen to Joe Biden. I just want something to happen. And legitimately, he's an old man, and he could go out of his presidency with a fucking bang. He could be more than FDR. He could be more than any of these other presidents, but he's they're just really absolute garbage. They're worse. I do, because
I only blame
he
him
could
as
have way more extreme rhetoric.
Yeah, well, sure. But just as shorthand, it's but what did we expect? We nominated the least extreme candidate.
Because we didn't have a choice because they took Bernie. Yeah. That's not on us. All of that,
it's on the Democratic Party establishment.
He's
that's what I'm saying.
Vote harder, you can't.
It's it's these schmucks in the Senate that just don't do anything. I can look at it personally. I just looked up, I was like, I wonder, because through a variety of lifestyle changes, I'm going to be owing a bit of federal income tax next year, because after my divorce and yada yada. And I'm like, but I just bought a home. Do I get a first-time home buyer credit? No. They don't have...
No, because it was owner financing?
No, because they don't offer that anymore. There are 4 different packages that were through the House that they're just not going to be seen, and none of the tax code's going to change. And it's just one little things like this where it's how many people this affects where you guys just can't do the bare minimum to help the working class. There's just easy things. Easy. But people like Nancy Pelosi and, she's just terrible. But
she's awful.
But even,
she's a true girl boss.
Terrible Nancy Pelosi passing this stuff that gets to the Senate and is just shelved because the Democrats are spineless, nutless freaks who don't give a shit about any of us. This is the problem. We talk about the lesser of two evils, but it's one evil, the GOP, hates you, and the other evil, the Democrats, don't give a shit about you. Choose between that. What's the point?
Hate is worse.
It's what we just either hate's worse, and it's so what? We go with that just so we have a speedier time to the next revolt or something until you can just finally just take the law into your own hands and people die in the street again after massive protests and uprisings. What? Which also didn't go anywhere either.
I know. That's what
it's really easy.
And you know what? I'm sorry to say that I said that about Joe Biden, because you know what? I like Joe Biden. I think that I like him as a dude. No, of course I don't mean that.
He's cool.
That's what I mean. And I think he's a really compassionate person. I think that his life has led him to be incredibly sympathetic and empathetic. I think he really likes people. I think he really honestly cares about the people around him. I bet if you meet him, he's a real presence.
Privileged white boomer guy. He's been through a lot.
For sure. And he's he's a man who's shown, he's cried on TV. I've seen him before. He's not afraid to show his emotions. Yeah, he's a very tender-hearted person. But I
that
feel
whole conversation before,
I
don't think you understood how pro-toxic masculinity I truly am. I think he should be castrated live on national television for crying.
He already has
shedding
been,
a
obviously.
single tear.
That's why he's crying.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so hard to swallow, is that Joe Biden is a good guy, and he's the figurehead, and he's the one that we're looking to do something about it, and he cares, and yet nothing is getting done. So it's a double whammy. It's not like Trump isn't doing something for me, because duh, but it's Joe Biden who does care about me and still not getting stuff done. And I'm lucky. We're lucky. Some people have it so much fucking harder. Way harder than we do. And I know he cares, and it's so unbelievably frustrating and disgusting that even people with good intentions, or especially people with good intentions, are they can't do anything to help anybody. Our system, talk about the system being broken. It is, because what should be the Republican Party shouldn't even exist anymore. It's so far out of date. It doesn't have any actual values or underpinnings that it can hold on to, because it's just anti-democrat or whatever. But even their ideas, Roe versus Wade, overturning it, blah blah blah, they're so outdated. What it should be is the left, and then an actual progressive party. The Republicans can just get out of here, because even their own base doesn't even agree with a lot of stuff that they're saying. We were saying, there's more nuanced conversations happening on a one-on-one individual level and between Americans than there is in Congress, because of
congressional hearings,
because of the Republicans. Yeah.
So you support infanticide? What the fuck is it? What's the point of this? We're paying you guys $200,000 a year to say stupid shit like this and do nothing for nobody?
Except for yourselves. You ain't doing nothing for nobody.
Oh my God.
And you can never hold them accountable, because you know how I was feeling bad about getting COVID and wanting to hold myself accountable for my actions and feeling what is my role in all of this? What kind of responsibility do I have to society? They don't ever fucking think about that. You can never hold them accountable, because they don't feel shame. They don't ever feel regret over anything they do. They don't ever self-reflect, evidently. Or if they do, they're learning the wrong fucking lessons.
Because in capitalism, if you're in power and you have capital, it means you did things right, and it means your life is done correctly,
meaningful.
So whatever, and whatever, if you've still got power, if you've still got money, if you still have any semblance of control over where your life is going, then you're good. You're a good person. That's what capitalism tells you. Even anyone, just some small business tyrant that doesn't know shit, some high school dropout that thinks that women should stay in the kitchen, but he's got a jet ski dealership, It's what? How could you possibly... The entire world that we live in here revolves around capitalism, and you only live so long. It's what did they do wrong? They're holding the wrong views? Who cares? Too bad. They won. You lost.
It's capitalism, baby.
Yeah, it sucks. It's I don't know, because
money is what's moral, and if you have money, that means you must have done something moral, because the free market, because blah, 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 all
which
this
is why
bullshit
empathy is frowned upon. So empathizing with someone in a worse position,
coming back to toxic masculinity,
or Ben Shapiro, and the fact that that's a cornerstone of, I don't know. I feel like you have to have empathy for others in order to ever look at things on a systemic level, which puts you more in the side of the left, because the lack of that, will just keep you on an individual level, which as long as you're not being controlled, as long as you have some control over your life, as long as you aren't 2 seconds away from dying of exposure in the street, it means that you're right. the postmodern look at all of this really truly is. Yeah, like, that's the truth. That's where you exist in society. Like, what is right and wrong?
Tells you.
What is right and wrong other than have and have not, in capitalism? Ooh, that was good. I don't know if it's true, but
I think it's. I think that's the whole thing about capitalism is because it's not even about morals or anything. It's about money.
Yeah, it's not even like a moral statement. That is the
end all be all. It just is money.
It's it's just descriptive, really, of have and have not. Either you have and so therefore you control other people, or you have not, and therefore you are controlled. I mean, just that's how your life is run, if you're working for wages, or, even if you have a lot, I don't know. I just hate that, like, I always think about the small business owners that, of course, are the backbone of America, as we hear every election cycle. Small businesses are the backbone of America. And it's like, yeah, that's ideal, right? Like, you want to get through to so many people that it's like they're tricked into right-wing politics because of their individual success. Through hard work, of course, like for so many people, small business owners and stuff. But small business owners are capital owners. They're, technically in the bourgeoisie or whatever, because they have people work for them. But it's like, okay, so this is what you're doing is a good thing, right? Just if in a big picture level, that's what you want for other people. As you're leaning into these right-wing politics about individualism and stuff, it's like, hey, you don't like it, you get up and do it yourself. And putting aside the idiotic my phone's ringing.
Jesus fucking
just
Christ!
Simplicity
this is a professional podcast
of that. It's like, okay, well, if you want to follow that through, it's like, so is the ideal that everyone has that. It's like, because if you get down to it, and truly capitalism, of course, needs an underclass. It's necessary to have an underclass of workers that are exploited for their labor. It's like, or
how can you have haves without have-nots?
If you have any sort of empathy and you're a capital owner, you own a small business or something, say, hey, people don't like it, they should do what I did, and they should do their own thing. They should own their own business. They should run their own lives. It's like, okay, well, if you extend that out, do you truly think that every single person in the workforce should have their own thing, should run their own business? If they say yes, it's like, that's just, if everyone's a capital...
Would that work?
Well, it's called communism. If everyone's a capital owner, then we all own it. Like, there's no class division.
How would that work in capitalism?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know. My mind goes on these tangents about it, where it's like, there's got to be a rhetorical trick to that, in leading someone to, okay, well, if you think that that's the right thing to do you think that everyone should do that? Yes. Well, if everyone is a capital owner together, if we all run our own, we all enjoy the fruits of our labor in its entirety because we're all working for ourselves, it's not capitalism anymore. But anyway,
people get caught up in
someone who knows anything can listen to this and be like, God, this guy does not know anything about theory. But
no,
I am an economist, as I will bring up whenever I feel like it. And that's
which
just
is
the
often,
truth. Yeah. Just about every day in my customer service job. Well, I'm an economist.
Like, what are you doing here then?
Like, I'm an economist, and they're like, oh yeah,
didn't I just say?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you said you were something like cooler.
Either you're insanely wealthy, or you don't. It's like saying I have a music degree.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about communism, that it's It's the wasp's nipples.
It's the bee's knees. Mm-hmm. Just about any erogenous zone
of every winged North American insect. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Douglas Adams, one of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books. I was going to say about, the opportunity to be able to pursue... It was about... People worry about, like, who's going to want to be doing these other jobs that nobody wants to do. And I think you had sent me something before about, like, how much could be automated. Like, how much we could just be, like, so many of these menial jobs could just be done by, like, robots, for lack of a better word for it. And that's good for society, to have all of this menial labor. It's like, that's why we don't have to wash our clothes by hand anymore. Like, we have washing machines, and, like, how technology is supposed to advance to make life easier for us so we can pursue, hopefully that's what people want, for people to pursue the things that they're interested in, because that's what makes life worthwhile. But I guess capitalism sort of gets in the way of that, because
worth living thing is pretty important. But that's because we have empathy.
Oh, right. I saw on Fox News that it was like, how lucky are we to live in America where we can work until we die, that we get the opportunity to work like for our entire lives. Like that was a host.
Oh, so in other words, people do want to work. What, innately? Is that what you're admitting? So
So people don't want to work anymore, or they do want to work,
so
or what is it?
If we structure the economy differently, no one wants to work anymore, so it's not an innate human trait that we want to make an impact on the world around us, leave it better than when we got here. Or just not
be bored out of our gourd, like we can get, because it is really boring to be bored. Oh my god, to be in isolation, it's really fucking boring.
It makes me want to spoil a bunch of the newest episode of Westworld. I couldn't stop watching. I caught all the way up last night.
I have only seen like the first 2 episodes
of the series.
So yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, if someone listened to this that was watching Westworld, and no one will, so... But I'll just pretend like there's a bunch of listeners, so I'm not going to spoil it. But
hey, if someone's listening, you better stop.
That's the thing about, like, not as a spoiler, but a character saying, now that she's in total control, being like a god, like, or how humans did over the robot hosts or whatever. I'm not going to get into all that, but she said, and now... as a god, I am bored. She says, do you ever think that maybe those old tales of in Greek mythology really weren't, it's like our own narcissism makes us believe that they came down from the heavens and interfered with our lives in order to teach us things, or because we were important, but not just because as gods they just wanted something to do.
You know what's funny? Kelsey said the other day, she was like, I just want these pieces of shit to worship me, just talking about men in general, whatever. Just
she wasn't cleaning the cat box when she said it.
We're just talking about men and how just they're different than women in a lot of ways. Our experiences with them are different than that. She's like, I want men to worship me. And then she's like, maybe that's why God created humans. Like, he just wanted pieces of shit to worship him. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe, because you wanted to feel all of your power, and you can only see that maybe reflected in people that are less powerful than you, not as good as you. Maybe it makes you feel better. I don't know.
You just be like me, and you start a leftist terrorist cell. Collective. They do worship me. Yes. I know that they joke around on their phones about,
and they trip me when I come in, and they pull my pants down.
Lots of times they're like, there's something on your shirt, and then they smack me in the nose. Classic worship strategies. So
classic terrorist cell.
I feel
honestly.
like everyone should experience it. I'm so loved. I feel so grateful for everything they do for me. They even tried tying my shoes for me because they were worshiping me. But they accidentally tied them together. I guess I got to teach them some stuff.
What's the opposite of Stockholm syndrome, where the captor is falling in love with his captain?
Stockholm syndrome It's called
reverse.
Bermuda disease, but that's
you don't want it. It also has some painful discharge.
Yeah, it's a precursor to monkeypox.
So wash your hands.
Yeah, wash your hands. Start a commune with a lot of rifles, and
definitely
don't get monkeypox. Wear a mask.
Good advice, all around. Good advice.
Well, I don't know where we want to go from here. I'm really glad that we do this. That's what I was going to say as an intro at some other point. Man, a callback to old podcasts I used to listen to, but this improvisational bullshit. I mean, as long as people know, I think it'll...
Have you been improvising this? It's been lining up exactly with my script.
Yeah,
That's so weird.
I swear I didn't look at the outline. No, that truly... It's like, well, we can always fall back when people think it's just Inane Blather, as the title suggests. Be like, well, I mean... We told you. It's like nothing.
Like, what did you expect?
Nothing is planned except for maybe 5 minutes beforehand while I'm setting up the webcam. Be like, oh, I want to say that, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I wrote a couple things down.
What were they?
I just
read verbatim what you wrote down.
Okay, well, I didn't get all of them. So the first one. Demon rats incentivize laziness. ... What is laziness?
See, we covered that.
Laziness is a concept constructed by capitalism.
Yep. Okay, covered. Check it out.
Capitalism's winner escapes capitalism. I think we talked about that in one of our other ones, or kind of touched on that. Yeah. But I had something else to say. Okay, dumb guys talking about women. I'm the incel whisperer. I was thinking, You've said it before about how I was like, I wish that prostitution or whatever was more accepted, because a lot of these men are looking, that's what a lot of prostitutes say too, is that men just want someone to talk to. And I could be, these poor guys, like I can really see them, and like I could make them feel safe and secure and like comfortable growing and changing and not putting up this hard defense and stuff. But prostitution's illegal, so I guess they're just bound to be terrorists. So that's
why I just do it for free.
No.
I get, there's like 20-year-old men with raging hard-ons. I just give them an over the pants HJ while I talk to them about socialism. I mean, I thought you knew I did that. I mean, it's kind of what takes up most of my time. Yeah. I think a couple of them have taken their own lives, but the majority, I think, go on to do great things.
Yeah. So that was another thought I had.
You're the incel whisperer. I'm the incel yeller.
Yeah.
Shouter.
So who has a better... Yeah, shouter. He's a comer. And if you have values, you can be held to account. That's why the GOP wins. They just don't give a fuck. LOL. That was my last point, was that if you have values, people can hold you...
it's easy to win with no accountability.
Yeah, and people like to hold you to a higher degree of accountability, because you're out there running your fucking mouth too. Like, if you have these values that you're standing on, that's why I feel so guilty about having COVID, and like, because I'm such a leftist and blah 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 blah, that anything I do I feel like reflects poorly.
That you feel guilty about contracting an airborne disease. God,
that's a good point. Actually, that was my point about that.
Are you a leftist, or are you just like a in the closet Catholic who feels guilty about everything?
Feeling responsible for your actions is a good thing. There's a good thing that the GOP does. Feeling shame and guilt isn't really helpful in progress and growth. So I can give them that. But they also don't feel any sort of like, like I said, they don't self-reflect, so they're not thinking that maybe that wasn't the right way, or that's not the way I want to be. They just don't care at all. They just do whatever is politically advantageous to them at any single moment of any time, any nanosecond that they can have to change values from like one word to another in a sentence. They just don't care at all, and it won't matter. You can't hold them accountable because it doesn't matter to them.
There's
but
nothing to account for.
But it is nice. You know what? I've thought a lot of my life, people have thought, you know, I'm really, really intense, like, and I get political, and it's like, shut the fuck up, Natalie. But you know what? At least at the end of it all, people will know that I did stand for something, that I legitimately have been, like, at least saying something. Like,
so you're saying
whatever.
This is purely an endeavor of the ego.
Ego-driven. I'm incredibly vain. I'm doing this just to hear
so
my
that
own... Are you even recording
your...
yours? I'm just listening to my... my
so that on
voice.
your headstone it can just say, at least I did a podcast.
At least I said something.
Yeah, and it says...
at least I did a podcast. Wow.
R.I.P. Really intense podcast.
Yes, and that's really what it comes down to. That's what I do it for. I do it for the P. O-D.
Yeah. There is that line where it's like, yeah, where without completely giving up and just putting your head in the toilet bowl and not pulling it back out, like it's like, yeah, to an extreme. Just trying to make a joke about suicide. But like you know, there's that line between
always
it's like
funny.
Not doing that, doing anything at all, like there's still the nihilistic path of, well, at least I did something, or the other path of like, what I'm doing could actually matter, you know. Even just the not self-involved, hey, what if one person turns their life around because they met me once? Maybe even through a butterfly effect of, like, I wasn't even the only catalyst, but something I did, you know, just positive karma throughout the world. You know, or when you feel black-pilled about it, then you still get to fall back on, well, at least I'm doing something. I could be doing nothing. I could be just putting my head in the toilet bowl and not pulling it back out. So
I feel good about it. When I was, that conversation Kelsey and I had when I totally was like, be a communist, and she was like, okay. Like, she sort of understood, like, where I was coming from with all that. We had taken some acid, and like,
you should see what she's
when I was
posting.
laying in bed.
It's a lot of anti-vax, anti-woke.
Yeah, that's Kelsey.
She keeps saying the N-word. I don't understand where that's coming from, but I think you had something to do with it.
Oh, no, Kelsey.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, you turned.
Wait, I had a vision though. Yeah,
you
totally. And I had a vision,
which is amazing.
I could see like a light clicking. It was amazing, and I had this vision of like the Earth spinning, and like, you know, we use the metaphor like planting a seed, or like the seeds of change, and like I could just see the Earth spinning and all of these beautiful seeds like being planted, and like this rainbow of just like progress through it. Though it's not going to happen in my lifetime. These things won't happen for. I mean, it's slow progress that it's hard to see as an individual, but it is happening, and I am part of it because I am part of the conversations. I do have these conversations in my life that if I planted one seed for one person here and over there and all of that, it becomes part of this collective consciousness of society, and I'm glad to be a part of the side of progress. And I think that is meaningful to be a part of that, because you are a part of it, because things can't.
But see, I planted one seed, and I have an 8-year-old that's currently at her mom's house while I'm in a garage doing a podcast with my sister. So, chew on that. Chew on that sunflower seed, huh? No, I know exactly what you mean. I could go way into, like, my go-to psychedelic experience had to do with, you know, having a revelation about, you know, the only constant is just the whole concept of the cyclical nature of the universe, down from the atomic level to the galaxy, and blah blah blah. And when it all comes down to even if things loop in general, it's still all about movement, you know. So you just move forward. Don't go against the tide. And
because there is no way but forward, otherwise we'd be back in fucking
on the actual Greece, molecular and entire universal level. Conservatism is stupid. There we go.
It doesn't make any sense. It literally, traditionalists and all that kind of stuff.
You want to stop electrons from circling an atom now, too, huh? All right.
I mean, come on. What do you want, an egg in your beer?
Now let me cut your kid's balls off and teach him about critical race theory.
Glad we're on the same page, finally.
Oh, you say you have a girl? Yeah, you do now. No. Okay, well, let's wrap it up. It's going, and it's really funny that we brought up Kelsey a couple times. She's one of the very few people that listen to this podcast, so we'll just have to have her on so she can defend herself and be like, I have to go on so the few people that hear this know that I'm nothing like these freaks. But
she's way awesome. She's the best.
Anyone who's wondering how to get a hold of it, everything should be through iTunes and Spotify and Google Podcasts, not Amazon.
I'm really sorry if you can hear me sniffing.
Anyway, we're also at Inane Blather on Twitter. That's the only thing I use. Fuck doing all the rest of it.
We need to get
it's
a
too much work.
YouTube page.
Whoever wants to do social media for free, once we finally start getting 10,000 downloads an episode, then go ahead and help. But it's kind of a chicken and an egg, because we're not going to get to that many episodes, because I'm not going to do social media for free right now. So
yeah, I really don't like social media, so
I love it.
We just need a YouTube.
Chicks love it.
Chicks love it.
Okay. And on YouTube, one episode is up.
Cool.
Oh, I could go on another tangent. We could just talk for hours, but save it for the podcast.
Save it for the podcast. Jinx.
Okay. Well,
Kelsey's outside the window, and I have my hand on the glass. This is the closest we've been. It's so fucking hard to be far away from each other.
Yeah, now you can
in the same
you
house.
can tell black teenagers. I know what it's like to be in prison. I put my hand up to the window while I was wearing a mask on my MacBook.
Yeah, my MacBook in my guest bedroom.
Okay, we'll let it go at that.
She's there.
Tell Kelsey I said hi.
Okay, I won't.
Okay, we love it. We love all of you listeners, because we probably know all of you personally. So.
I love all of you, even people who hate listen. You know what? I love you because you're a person and you're deserving of respect and love, and you just can't be a fascist piece of shit.
Yeah,
so
I don't love
work
you.
On some things.
Fuck you.
You can change.
Okay? We've got two dynamics
People can
going
change.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, change and then I'll love you.
Yeah.
Go
His
to
love
Natalie.
is conditional.
Go to
Mine
Natalie.
is not.
I don't give a shit about you. Okay.
I love you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Love you. Bye.
Okay. I love you. Bye.